Hello, guys, and thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Let's get right into talking about the Colts. If this is your first time here, we talk about the Colts and the Indiana Hoosiers on this channel nearly every single day. So subscribe down below. You will be entered to win by subscribing a pair of Colts tickets or a Colts jersey, whatever you would like. But comment on the video. Subscribe. It's totally free and you can win stuff here. This is a new channel. This is the fans' perspective. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get right into talking about the Colts. A few things we're going to talk about today is the injury report, how Darrell Baker's matchup in this game is very critical to the Colts, and also why the Saints are reeling right now because they have a lot of things going wrong for their team, and it's just time that the Colts take advantage of that and win this game. But first, let's thank our sponsor, Reynolds Wrap. Reynolds Wrap has been producing fine aluminum foil in the United States for over 75 years. Save time in the kitchen cleanup by using Reynolds Wrap. Use a variety of their products. Their everyday foil you can use to line sheet pans, save time on all those big, nasty, dirty dishes, and get back to watching the big game faster. By using Reynolds Wrap, you can just wad this stuff up, throw it away, get back to doing what you need to do. I use it for lids, storage, all sorts of things, lining things to keep it clean. Reynolds Wrap, an American company making great American aluminum foil for 75 years. Choose Reynolds Wrap. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring this video. So let's get into talking about the injury report first. Let's go over the Saints players that are going to be out for this game. So they have two players that are out. Two that had full participation. Tackle Ryan Ramczyk, that's in concussion protocol for them. And then also running back Alvin Kamara. He had an illness, but he was full participation in practice. This is the Friday afternoon injury report right here. The Colts limited participation was Zach Moss. Juju Brents is going to be out in this game, and I'm going to talk about why Darrell Baker's matchup is so critical. Kylan Granson's in concussion protocol, but I think he's trending towards playing so far. Defensive tackle Eric Johnson did not participate with an ankle, and Braden Smith did not participate with a hip wrist injury. So hopefully those guys can get on the field. I know Juju Brents is out for this game, but Darrell Baker's matchup with Chris Olave, whether he's matched up on Chris Olave or Michael Thomas, this is a week where Baker can get a lot of confidence. I know I've ripped on him a little bit, and he was benched early in the season, but this is why you're benched early in the season and you have a chance to sit on the sideline and maybe learn some things and then come back and be a better player for it. Baker, this is your week to do that. Chris Olave has a lot of, and this may be being blown out of proportion, but he was arrested for going 70 and a 35 this week for reckless driving. He actually did spend a night in jail. That right there is just a distraction for the New Orleans Saints. That on top of the Saints have a lot of their fans really hating this offensive coordinator for the Saints because their offense has looked absolutely awful. When they go in just their regular offense and they're not in the hurry up, the Saints offense has been just atrocious. Now, when they go to the hurry up, they do play a little bit better. Chris Olave, on some plays that I've watched and some research I've been doing, this guy doesn't play hard on every single play. There are many running plays where he just doesn't block on running plays, or there are plays that he knows that he's the clear out guy and has to run a streak route, and he just doesn't run hard. So what does that tell me? It tells me that Darrell Baker, who is being given, a second chance, an opportunity to play in this game and get more experience, we are going to need him to play very, very well. And he's playing against a player who's just there's something going on with him. Do I know what it is? No, I don't. But I will just say this: Chris Olave is far more talented than what the output that he is putting out this year, and that is to advantage Colts, because if you have guys out there not playing like up to their full potential, it's going to be a long day, because this is the NFL, and everybody out there, you really got to play 100% to play in an NFL game. That's always what I've thought. You got to be invested, really invested, or really, giving it your all out there in an NFL game, or you're boundly determined to get hurt, or worse, something else happen. You got to be invested in the game. So I hope that made sense, but it really didn't now that I say it. But Chris Olave and Baker, or even if Baker is on Michael Thomas, these matchups are going to be critical to this game, especially if the Colts are going to run the ball on the perimeter. Chris Olave, not run the ball. If the Saints are going to run the ball with Kamara to the outside and Olave is not blocking Baker, they'll have opportunities to come up and make tackles, because I've seen many times this guy doesn't try 100% when he's on his blocking assignments. And that is advantage Colts. What the Colts have to do, an interesting statistic that I saw, the Colts are 5-55 when turning the ball over 4 times. That's an unbelievable stat. Gardner Minshew, he can't turn the ball over and win these games. If he was a higher level talent, like back when we had Andrew Luck, or back when we had Peyton Manning, he could turn the ball over 3 times, and then somehow he would come back and you would still win the game, and you'd be like, gosh darn it, you just forgot about those turnovers. But yeah, Gardner Minshew, not that kind of a talent. He's not an Andrew Luck that's going to come back and beat Kansas City 45-44, even though he threw like 4 interceptions. That might be one of those 4 interception games, because if you remember, that Kansas City game came out, Andrew Luck, very first play of the second half, threw an interception. I got to look up what those games were. The 5-55, what were the games we turned the ball over 4 times and still won? But we can't turn the ball over this week. It's hypercritical. I think it's going to happen. I think this is the week where we're going to run the ball a little bit more. I think that is going to be in the game plan, and Minshew's going to protect the ball a little bit more. So the Colts, they still have a good chance of getting in the playoffs. I mean, the Colts sitting at 3-4 right now. They could be 4-4 coming out of this game. And then we got Panthers, Patriots coming up. These games, they're all NFL teams. One thing you have to remember in the NFL, even bad teams right now are capable of putting together a good game and beating a team. The Patriots beat the Bills last week. Any team right now is capable of beating any team. Kansas City is just seems like the front runner in the biggest way this year. And the middle of the NFL is any team can beat any team. Even teams like San Diego Chargers, I thought would be better this year. And they're not very good. There's just a lot of mediocre teams. Any team has a chance to win, and the Colts have a chance to win against the Saints this weekend. And if you look at the Saints schedule, they have an even weaker schedule than the Colts do going forward. How that is even possible? Well, it's because they get to play the Panthers twice, and the Colts get to play them once the rest of the way. So, but big game this weekend for the Colts. I think these matchups, I think Baker on their wide receivers, our corners on the outside, can they hold up, and can we get pressure? A couple of the Saints offensive line all year has been pretty banged up. They have a tackle out this week, but the left side, I believe it is, of their line, it could be the right side, but one side of their line has been really hurt all season, and they've struggled with their blindside protection. Carr was sacked twice last week from blindside, missed blocks coming from the blindside sacks. But we know players like him that like to sit in the pocket, he has a bad problem where he perceives the pressure coming after him before it's actually there. And if you can get a little bit of pressure up the middle on Derek Carr, because he is just a pocket passer. He can run a little bit, but he's not going to typically try to just run. If you can squeeze him in the middle a little bit, he'll make bad throws with perceived pressure that's not there. That's going to be critical to the Colts as well. And can they get some pressure up the middle? We don't have Grover Stewart. He would be our guy. He's out on the PED thing. He would be the guy we would be wanting to squash him up into the middle and get some of that perceived pressure on him and make him get rid of the ball out into the flat. Or, I mean, he'll make less than accurate throws even when nobody's around him just because he perceives pressure that's not there. But that's Derek Carr. Hey, I'll tell you what, the Saints fans out there, if you're watching this video, it's super hard. We all think that like this quarterback from this team could be transplanted to another team. You know, the Colts did it with Phillip Rivers 1 year. We had kind of like Frank Reich kind of had a backstory with Phillip Rivers, so it wasn't starting like straight from zero. But I think we're seeing now that like from Wilson going to the Denver Broncos, Carr going to the Saints, and the Saints still can make the playoffs. They have as good a chance of anybody in that division, but it's just not a cut, copy, and paste way to win in the NFL. It takes more than that. Like, you got to have good rapport with your wide receivers and kind of have a good timing with them. And that's what the Saints are looking for. Let's not let them do that against the Colts this week. Let's get pressure on them and make it difficult for Carr and keep them on the ropes. The Colts can win this game. I just told you how they can do it. They got to go out there and execute the plan. But until next time, stay classy out there, Colts fans. Subscribe to the channel. I have some giveaways coming up on the channel. If you watch till the end of the video, thank you so much for watching this channel. I do have a Colts jersey or tickets I will be giving away. So look for that. When I get to 200 subscribers, I will be giving away tickets or a jersey, your choice. Thank you so much for tuning in to Indiana Sports Connection, the fans' perspective of all things Indiana sports, Indiana Hoosiers basketball, and Colts football. And until next time, stay classy out there, Colts fans.